These 6 components are the core components of UX design. So much so that if you don't know any of this, you can't call yourself a UX designer. All design driven companies such as Apple, Microsoft, Google have created a dedicated role for each of these components of UX design. One component out of these 6 is so important that companies have started to create an entire department for it. And that is user research, which is also the number 1 in our list. But before we learn more about all these 6 components of UX design, let's first understand what UX design is. So UX design is a process of creating experiences which are effective, efficient, easy, and enjoyable. And to create these experiences, we use multiple different components of UX design. 6 of them are explained here in this video. Think UX design as a bigger umbrella, and all these 6 components of UX design, or all the components of UX design, falls under this bigger umbrella. To learn more about UX design, you can watch this video where I've explained UX design in detail with a practical example of creating an experience for Uber. Okay, so now that you understand what UX design is, let's come back to our list of 6 essential components of UX design. The number 1 in the list is user research, or which is also known as UX research. And this component has gained so much momentum in recent times that companies have started to create a separate department for this, because they have started to understand that the more user research, or the more they understand the users, the better their product will become. User research is the first thing you will need to do in any design process. Before we jump into finding the solution for the problem, we will first need to understand the people. In UX, we call these people as users. So we need to first understand our user who are facing this problem. And this process of understanding our user is called as user research. Here is the precise definition of user research. User research is a process of understanding users' goal, needs, motivations, and behaviors. Some of the methods we use to understand our users are user interview, surveys, contextual inquiries, and usability testing. To learn more about user research, you can watch this video where I explain user research in detail. The number 2 in the list is information architecture. Information architecture is a process of categorizing and labeling the content or the feature in a logical way so that anyone can understand how the product works. It is a visual representation of a product hierarchy which look like this. A product can have multiple different content or features. Here is the iOS app of Uber. Look at this and answer me, where do you think the feature to log out or sign out from the app would be? Isn't that obvious that we will find it under the account section here? This is the power of information architecture, which helps in arranging the features or content in a logical way. Now, you might be thinking, how do we decide what feature will be in the primary navigation, secondary navigation, or in the tertiary navigation? Well, for that, we will need to conduct a study, a research study, which is known as cart sorting. Let's move to item number 3 in the list, user interface, or commonly known as UI design. User interface is a subset of UX design which primarily focuses on the look and feel of the product. Some of the most important elements a UI designer takes care of are colors, typography, images, illustrations, etc. To learn more about UI design, you can watch this playlist, which is a complete course on UI design for beginners. Next in the list is interaction design. Interaction design is a process of defining the interaction between the user and the product. In this process, the designer defines what will happen when a user will click on the button. When you are using a product, you are practically interacting with that product. The product asks you a question, you provide the answer, the product processes it, and then shows you the result. Defining an interaction requires a lot of research and primarily requires to conduct a lot of usability testing. Next in the list is UX writing. UX writing or microcopy is a branch of copywriting where the primary focus is on the copy of a digital product. When we say copy, we mean the content inside the text field. The UX writers define what copy will make sense to the users. See these buttons? Which one makes more sense? Create an account, right? Writing this kind of text is a primary job of UX writer. The last in the list is accessibilities. Accessibilities means that the product is designed in such a manner that even people with disabilities can use it. As a designer, our primary tool is empathy. And therefore, whenever we are designing, we need to empathize with not just our normal user, but we also have to empathize with our specially abled users. We have to make sure that each element of our UI design has proper contrast and can easily be readable by anyone, even people with disabilities. If you are new to UX design and want to understand the core concept of UX design, you can watch this complete playlist on UX design for beginners. The videos in this playlist are actual recordings of my paid course, which is freely available on my channel now. Now go and watch that, and I'll see you next time.